How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So on today's video, we're going to be going over what you can do to increase the chances of your vehicle reaching 200,000 miles or better. If you're new to the channel, make sure you do subscribe and drop a comment down below and give us a like to make sure you get the latest and greatest tips and tricks, DIYs, bulletins, recalls, etc. on Hondas and Acura specifically. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the video. And first thing I'm going to tell you to do is do not follow Honda's maintenance minder guide or recommendations. From my experience, they have been way too soft and not aggressive enough, oftentimes leading to problems down the road. So Honda's maintenance minder is designed to basically, as a marketing strategy to, prolong some maintenance and be cost effective to you. Although most people lease nowadays, if you do end up buying this car used or you keep it long term, some of those habits could turn into some problematic, events down the line. So if you own one of these vehicles, if you bought it, if you plan on keeping it, all fluids, 30,000 miles at most. That includes transmission, brake fluid, power steering if it's still applicable, a drivetrain fluid, so front transfer case, rear differential, etc. Oil changes every 3 to 5,000 miles at most. These cars, most of them nowadays are a GDI and turbo, so direct injection and turbo, and prolonged oil changes just decrease the efficiency and cooling and lubrication, and oftentimes leads to problems down the road once again. So my recommendations: stay away from the Honda maintenance minder and just kind of do your own thing. So 3 to 5,000 miles once again on the oil changes. All the other fluids, do them at 30,000 miles. All right, so some other maintenance that should be done is air and cabin filters. So when you change your air filter, make sure that you get the most fuel economy and your engine is working as efficiently as possible. Same thing goes for the blower motor. If your cabin filter is clogged and dirty with leaves, debris, whatever the case may be, it's going to make your blower motor work harder and cause an issue or prematurely wear the blower motor down the road and causing you an unwanted repair. So other things, spark plugs, 90,000 miles, they are platinum. So unless if you're driving super aggressive or your car is modified, 90,000 miles to 100,000 miles should be more than adequate for that. You don't want to wait too long. You could cause some other issues. Once again, causing some major issues down the line. So timing belt is recommended every 7 years or 105,000 miles if the car still has it, which is all of Honda's J series or V6 engines still at this time. So you want to change that once again, 7 years or 105,000 miles. You don't want that belt snapping on you and causing some catastrophic engine damage, including bent valves and some damaged components if it was at higher speed. So if you change that and you act proactively, then that won't be an issue down the line. Now, if your car does have a timing chain, which is basically every other engine from Honda, now you're going to once again do your oil changes every 3 to 5,000 miles, and you will not have a stretch change situation. When you follow some of these Honda's recommendations and their algorithm, oftentimes as the cars approach 100,000 miles or better, we see stretch timing chains, and can be very time consuming and obviously cost you a lot of money. The parts aren't so expensive, but it is very labor intensive, or if you're going to do it yourself, once again, it is time consuming. Back to the oil changes. These long-term oil changes promote very bad habits for the vehicle, and most of Honda engines now found in most vehicles are turbocharged, or a lot of them are. So we see a lot of turbo failures due to sludging, which comes from these prolonged oil changes. So it's something else that you could prevent a major failure. Turbo is going to be a couple $1,000s, so you don't want have that fail on you just because you wanted to save a couple bucks once in a while on an oil change. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna recommend is stay away from your local gas stations, the ones usually that are, the best prices. Try to go to a name brand gas station like an Exxon Mobil, BP, whatever the case may be, a Shell, something that is name brand, and stay away from the local gas stations. Also, I'm going to recommend 91 or better octane fuel on any engine, but more so if the engine is forced induction. So anything turbo 1.5T or 2.0T, you're definitely going to want to use top tier fuel, 91 or better once again. And oftentimes the cheaper and less quality gas ends up contaminating the fuel injectors, which causes misfires and prematurely damages the catalytic converter or converters at that same time. So one thing leads to another, that leads to another thing. And obviously, if you have to replace injectors, you're going to cost you some money. And more so if you have to replace 1, 2, or 3 catalytic converters that some of these vehicles do have. So something that you could avoid, yes, 91 or better is going to be more expensive, but it's going to be a couple bucks a tank full versus spending thousands of dollars down the line, in one big shot. So, and you're also oftentimes going to get better fuel economy and just overall better performance of the vehicle. So something that I'm definitely going to recommend if you plan on keeping a car long term, and just, for the sake of the engine and everything else involved with that. All right, so the next thing is I'm gonna recommend that you warm up your engine when you start the vehicle, especially in the wintertime, or if you live in a cold weather state during those winter months. You're gonna wanna let it warm up a couple minutes. I usually wait till at least the bar or the needle starts moving. I know a lot of people don't really do this, and it's fine, but like I say, when you first get out of bed, you don't want to move right away. You got to get warmed up a little bit. So same thing goes for the engine. The oils are very thick in the winter time, and if it's in the summer and it's 90 degrees out, it's probably not so much of a big deal. But long term, in the winter with those colder, thicker oils, it's definitely going to make a difference long term, especially for the bearings and anything bearing related, turbo bearings, camshafts, anything that's rotating. Obviously, it's going to have an effect a long term. So once again, some people are going to argue against this, but I've done this on every vehicle that I've owned, and I've never had any issues. All right, so the next 2 and final suggestions I'm gonna have is be proactive with the maintenance and make sure you're having somebody look at the vehicle that knows what they're looking at. What I mean by that is you don't have to take it to Honda or Acura, but take it to somebody that does have experience and specializes in Hondas or Acuras. If that's your vehicle or whatever brand you own, make sure you take somebody that specializes in that brand of manufacturer, because they're gonna know common failure points and kind of address things prematurely before they cause another issue. So oftentimes, if you have, for an example, a loose ball joint, that's gonna create obviously some tire wear and could damage other components as well. If you have one bad motor mount that is commonly breaking, then it could be, if you don't address that engine mount right away, then that will lead to the other engine mounts failing. So one engine mount costs you maybe $100, $200, can lead you to spending possibly $1,000 if you don't address it, in a timely manner. So once again, make sure you are having somebody that knows the product looking at the vehicle, or if it's yourself, maybe do some research. Google, YouTube, great resources for plenty of information out there on Hondas and Acuras. And oftentimes they're going to have a lot of videos like myself, people making videos on common issues, that you could be on the lookout for yourself. So oil leaks you want to address right away. Anything rubber, you want to check at least every 6 months or once a year. As the car gets older, you want to make those more frequent. So bushings, ball joints, drive belts, hoses, anything that has a rubber and could, wear over time, just due to the elements of the outside and the hot and the cold, etc. So hopefully this video helps somebody out there. And I think if you do follow most of these suggestions, that most of you will have a good experience and can lead to a vehicle lasting a long time. Now I know somebody out there is going to say, well, I haven't done any maintenance and my car's lasted 200,000 miles, or I've done all my maintenance and my car has broken and it's basically total loss at 60,000 miles, or whatever the case may be. There's always going to be an exception to the rule. But if you do follow these procedures, 99 out of 100 times, you're going to have a good experience and the car is going to reward you back with it. So with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one.